What's good? Welcome back to another episode of Real Game Talk, where sports and culture collide to give us a conversation. We got another episode today where we are at the tail end of the month of May. We just kicked off the conference finals in the NBA, and we still got some NFL signings as well. Matt, as everybody knows, is my co-host. Matt, what's going on with you today, my man?
Man, what's good, man? Just a beautiful day outside, and even better inside. But we got some good stuff to run by today, NBA, and whatever else come up.
Okay, I got you. It was a good day because it's getting a little hot out here in Texas. So, hey, we'll see what the summer got in for us. I know we're coming towards the end of May, which we got Memorial Day weekend coming up. So I hope you take that time celebrating with your family. And then we get into June in a couple of weeks, which starts to get a little hot out here in Texas. So we'll see how that goes. As far as
you got something planned?
Say that again. Sorry.
You got something planned for Memorial Day?
I don't. I might throw something on the grill on Saturday. I want to relax before I got to start next week. So I don't really have nothing planned for this weekend. So hopefully basketball can keep me entertained. The grill will keep me entertained, and then we'll go from there. But as of that, I got you.
Same here.
As far as the show, though, I think this is actually going to be one of our better shows based off of the topics we done outlined in the before this. And I look forward to diving into those topics with you today. The first topic that we got is the NBA Conference Finals. It's getting a little heated on both sides. I like the matchups between Oklahoma City and Minnesota, as well as the Indiana Pacers and the New York Knicks. We are coming off of game one from the Knicks and Pacers last night, and then tonight we have the game two of the Thunder and Wolves. So we'll back up. We'll start with the Eastern Conference since they were last night. They played a game in Madison Square Garden where you got the 3 seed as well as the 4 seed scoring out to go to the finals. It's ironic. Well, it's not ironic. I'm pretty sure this was something that they strategically did, but I've watched the 30 for 30 with Reggie Miller in Winning Time where they outlined the Indiana Pacers and the Knicks rivalry back in the 90s. So I was kind of glad to see the two teams go ahead and see where that was going to go. And then we got into last night's game, which just only added to the drama of the 90s with the Reggie Miller, John Starks, Patrick Ewing rivalry that they had back then. So, Matt, game one went to Indiana in dramatic fashion where they came back. It was a game where the Knicks had kind of controlled it for most of the game, and then they lost it towards the end in dramatic fashion. They had a 14-point lead around with 2 minutes left. They had a 9-point lead with a minute left, and they somehow managed to lose it, or it ended up being tied at the end of overtime, and then they lost it in overtime. Man, how you feel about game one of the Eastern Conference Finals between the Knicks and the Pacers?
That was a very exciting first game. I want to go back though, because this did not predict these two teams to be here today. I don't know.
Yeah,
I think you had the other one.
I might have to take back and see from the prior episodes and stick it in this one just to see, right in this segment, to see if Matt predicted it was going to be Pacers Knicks. I think he did, especially coming off of what our last show. I know at that time when we did our last show, the Knicks had already stole a game or two from Boston, and then the Cavs at that time I think had dropped 2 games at home too. So I thought that both teams could get back in it. You need the team.
That ain't where it was at. Nah, this was at the beginning of the series. The Knicks and the Celtics was playing. The Pacers did beat the Cavaliers that first game, but the Knicks and Celtics was going back and forth in that first game. I wouldn't even made a prediction, if it was that, 2-0 or whatever. But no, their yesterday it looked good. And again, I'm saying it again now. I said the Pacers was gonna go to the finals. So I still feel like that, even though the game yesterday was they did let it get behind them. But I do I like their team, and I love their coaching staff, and of course their head coach. I've seen him put teams together and seen the same result with the Mavericks when Rick Carlisle was there, and we had our best teams. Fourth quarter was just relentless, and we never gave up, and we've made comebacks just like some similar, maybe not as well, almost some just like 9 points within a few minutes, like a minute left or so. But still, though, I was impressed with what they did. Halliburton decided to create the cardinal sin and try. He drove in, had the bucket, then ran all the way back to the 3-point line. Nailed it. They celebrating. His foot was on the line.
I got you. He talked about that. He said his initial plan was to go to the basket, and McCarry had kind of walled him up and made him stumble on the ball. So at that point, he ended up retreating back out to the 3-point line, thinking that he was knocking down a 3-pointer. And that was dramatic within itself, because most 3-pointers either gonna go in or immediately go out.
Right.
Hit the rim, bounce to the top of the shot clock. It didn't touch either the shot clocks or the game clock, and then drop back in. But that was dramatic when itself.
I'm out for movie.
For sure. And he was
ready to hit on the movie for sure.
He was ready to hit that Reggie Miller choke. He said he had, wanted to drop it in the right time just to see how it was going to be. He even said in the post game he don't think he could do it again based off of he thought he had won the game. It is what it is now, so he'll continue to move on. I will give you credit. Yeah, they definitely you had the series. I thought it was going to be more competitive. I didn't think the Celtics was going to drop that. I didn't foresee Jason Tatum tearing his Achilles either.
Right now, for sure.
This series for sure. But even at that time, there was already, I think it was 2-1. They ended up losing that game that he was in. So you know what? The Cavaliers have been the best team all year in the Eastern Conference, and I just didn't see them going out like that. But now looking back on the series, and then last year they kind of went out the same way last year. So I think they need to make some changes with their roster to get them over the hump and see where that gets them. Because they definitely brought in a good coach that got them the number 1 seed. So they shouldn't have dropped that one the way that they dropped it. Sorry. Okay. But going to this conference finals, I'm excited about it. Like I said, Halliburton did his thing. I'm excited about the wings that they got too. I'm not when it comes to Neesmith and Nembhard doing their thing. Siakam getting buckets when he needed, Halliburton putting him in the right spots, and they just play a good team basketball. And they have a bench. They ain't out there playing 7, 8 players the whole game. And then when it gets to the fourth quarter, they had a little juice to give it. And then they've been experience tested from last year when they made it to the conference finals as well. So they just a team that you see mature. And no matter what they might have done in the regular season, the experience that they got from last year and then just being an overall good team, they are putting them in the right position to win game 1. And hopefully they can make it a competitive series. And I hope that it's 7 games in the Garden with even more dramatics on that. So I'm cool with that. I'm cool with the way they won. Again, like I said, the 90s with Reggie Miller calling the game and Halliburton giving him the choke sign. It was cool. I think it was cool to see them do their thing. So I ain't gonna knock it. I don't know if I necessarily want to see them. Not go ahead and say it. I don't know if I want to see them in the finals or nothing like that. Based off of the last time I seen them in the finals, they was getting punished by the Lakers with Rick Smits and Reggie Miller and them, Jalen Rose, Shaq.
What they got to do with now? They had Jermaine O'Neal, Steven Jackson, Ron Artest, all them other players since then.
I think they're
Lance Stevenson.
Yeah, that crazy part is I actually wanted them to beat LeBron now back in that 2014, 2015.
Paul George, Danny Granger, like they didn't had a whole slew of new players since then.
They had a squad then because it was George Hill, Paul George, Lance Stevenson, David West, Roy Hibbert. And they went toe-to-toe with LeBron and the Heat. And, of course, at that time, LeBron didn't finish him. So, I don't know. It's something about that franchise that you just be like,
you just don't like their colors, man. That's all it is, man.
I don't know. Just the Indiana Pacers don't seem like.
Hey, man, I'm Indiana Pacers. Let's go. I'm rocking with the Pacers this playoffs.
Okay. So yeah, that's what it is. So them being up one, I look forward to a good series on that. On the other side, we got the Minnesota Timberwolves and Oklahoma City Thunder. Game 2 is tonight, where Oklahoma City is up one, and they won that by blowout. Actually, Shea Gilgeous-Alexander got MVP on last night, so they announced in front of the crowd and receiving his MVP before this game. And so right now they going at it, and I want to see from star power. I want to see if Ant can mature. But if looking at it from a basketball standpoint, man, I feel like Oklahoma City has a better team than the Timberwolves. I ain't gonna say that Ant can't do some heroics and squeeze it out, but the overall team and the depth that Oklahoma City rolls out there, they appear to have a better overall team than the Timberwolves. How do you feel about the Western Conference matchup between the Wolves and the Thunder?
So I got to go back on this one too. So I got the Timberwolves right, but the Thunder, I was wrong about them.
Okay.
They overcame and out man the Nuggets.
Mm-hmm.
So shout out to them. I mean, they always start out game one pretty good like that, you know what I'm saying, and kind of set the tone for the series. So I'm gonna take them serious going forward. I think they're gonna pull it out. But the reason being is like what you said. I think they got the better overall team. Mm-hmm. And I believe that based on last year, Anthony Edwards, you know what I'm saying, he kind of faded a little bit at this time last year, you know what I'm saying, carrying the team. And he don't really even have to carry as much of a load offensively that he does. But, you know, yeah, whatever. It's just been it's worn down. They definitely need to add another piece to that team. But I got to make another admission or confession about or bring up something that we talked about before. Okay. Who was going to make it to the finals first? You know, Ja, Shea, or Anthony. And I was wrong about that. I said Ja would make it, and he got put out.
So at least one of the two left gonna make it, man. So yeah,
So who did you choose? You remember who you chose? Was it Shea?
I knew I didn't choose Ja. I said I think I picked Shea because I don't think I said that Ja and Ant weren't mature enough to get their teams over the hump to get them to the final.
And you liked the way they team. You felt like their team was built better or something. Yeah. I remember you saying that. So yeah, right now, you know, you on that. So we'll see how they go.
I got you. And like I said, with that being said, I'm pulling for Ant. I like Ant. I like the star power. I like his athleticism.
I like him too.
Ability to knock down a three. I like him as a basketball player. I said so. He's exciting for me to watch, and so I would like to see him in the finals just to see what challenges he can knock out. Like him getting the quote unquote King Slayer and the Legend Slayer nickname by knocking out LeBron and Luka, and then Jimmy and Draymond and Jokic last year.
That is a reach.
I like the statue that he's building, and I just want to see what tasks he can do before getting there and see how he rises to the occasion. Right now, team basketball has been winning. So, like I said, the Thunder are winning, the Pacers are winning. That team-oriented style is winning, and so I've always gravitated to the star and believed that stars led teams to championships, whether it was Jordan, LeBron, Kobe, and Shaq. Tim Duncan, even though they were more team-oriented, I believe that was the way that the NBA was going by pushing the stars to win championships. And so now we're getting some teams in here, and it's getting real basketball, and you're getting overall teams with benches and strategies, and they do have star players. They just don't have superstar players. And even though Shea won the MVP, he's coming into his own right as a superstar. His star power just hasn't excelled into it. Ant's level, and I say this is off the court stuff. He probably is at this time a better basketball player than Ant. But the way that they trying to push Ant to be the face of the league, all the commercials that he has, and then his overall highlights seem to come across more social media platforms than Shea's overall body of work. So we'll see. When it comes to this, again, like I said, I want to see Ant. Are you predicting a Thunder Pacers finals? Is that where you're going with the wrap ups right now?
Yeah. I got Thunder Pacers going in. But I gotta say that Kingslayer stuff is a reach, man. I mean, I can't call it that if you got the better team. Like if you supposed to win, then you still slaying kings. Like, and especially when you're not having games, you're not the whole series, you're not dominating. You know what I'm saying? It's other people stepping up as well. But I mean, I give them his credit where credit's due. Like when they beat the Nuggets and they beat who was that, KD and them that year, that was major. Whatever, however they did it. But what they doing this year, like beating Draymond and Jimmy, like that's a reach. Come on now, man.
I didn't say Steph. I said Draymond and Jimmy. I said Luka.
But that's what I'm saying. Was you your king slayer because you beat a team that Jimmy Butler at 35, not looking like Jimmy playoff Jimmy, I guess what they want to call him. I mean, I heard Udonis Haslam take on that, and I almost agreed with what he had to say on that. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Definitely a lot of stuff overrated. Some good play, but the overall quality was overrated with that. And just with the Warriors team without Steph. I mean, you were supposed to beat them. I believe they were supposed to beat the Lakers. I mean, that's a good win. Like on your resume, you know what I'm saying? It's just like in boxing, you beat a big name, no matter what they had in their career, that's a good win. So I give you that, but definitely not that Warriors thing. They got to take that off.
I don't even put that on the resume. I didn't think Jimmy was going to carry him to anything when Steph went down. So I ain't, like I said, I'll put him on the list. The report that I saw when they were naming off the legends that he had.
Jimmy, they just reaching with that. That's crazy.
Reaching what I want to say. So they
that's
definitely
crazy.
I disagree with you on the Thunder Pacers being the finals, and I'll just disagree with you for the sake of debate. I actually like the Knicks and the Knicks and the Wolves. And the Knicks can bring in that New York fan base and finals games in Madison Square Garden, man. Oh yeah, that'll be rocking, man. So this is based off of, this ain't a basketball opinion. This is more of a just personal what I want to see in the finals.
No, I respect that, but that's why I'm like, oh well. I mean, hey, it ain't about you, man.
Yeah, it ain't our team either, so it ain't like we was going for them to start with.
No.
It is what it is.
No ties in. So if I'm wrong, it is what it is, man. Everybody got to choose somebody to go with at this point when your own team ain't in there. But start next season, I wouldn't give a damn what none of these teams do.
I got you. All right, I got it. We'll tap into that in future episodes on what's gonna happen with your team going forward through the offseason and in the next year as well. So we'll tap into that.
For sure.
All right. Transitioning to the next segment. My favorite NFL team did some things over the weekend where they signed their franchise quarterback Brock Purdy to an extension, a 5-year extension. I think he get $181 million guaranteed. All of the money I think is guaranteed for the first 3 years, and then those last 2 years he'll be back to a base salary. I think his average annual salary is at $53 million, which puts him in the top 10 as far as quarterback salaries. He's not the top as Dak is getting 63. He's right in there with Tua and Trevor Lawrence. And so, Matt, seeing that Brock Purdy signing pop up on your screen over the weekend, how do you feel about them locking in their franchise quarterback?
Man, honestly, it didn't pop up on my screen, man. I don't get 49ers news nowhere near. It's all blocked. I seen that.
ESPN, they ain't pop up on you when you watch the Sports Center, man. None of that.
Man, I forgot how I said. I think it was like at the bottom. I seen something scrolling, and I was like, "Oh, he got signed to an extension. Good for him, man. You know, good for the 49ers." But from a football standpoint, again, I always say I don't understand why NFL has so much problems finding or replacing quarterbacks. You know what I'm saying? It's just not registering with me with so many. It's like somewhere is like I don't know the word I'm looking for, but it's like a gap once they get from high school to college with the development, then from the pros, because so many top tier quarterbacks that you hear about coming up, they just don't make it past that NFL level, or some not even to the NFL level, you know, as far as being a superstar or even a good backup, you know what I'm saying? Like somebody you can get a game to. Like your quarterback go down, Nowadays, it's like over with for the whole season. You can lose any other position, but your quarterback go down, it's over with. And it used to then be like that. I remember Steve Young can come in for Joe Montana, and then he can go down and Steve Bono come in. Steve Berline played for us a few. Jason Garrett won us some games as a third string quarterback, but now you don't see none of that. And I don't understand that. So I get why they put so much into the quarterback. I don't get why they do, but I mean,
based off of recent.
Based off of what they have available, I get it. But somebody needs to figure out something. You know, I remember Green Bay used to have it, and I don't like giving Green Bay no props. Everybody that know me know why, because I got Green Bay trolls all on Facebook. My boy, booming, but back when they would develop quarterbacks, you know what I'm saying? They would bring them in. Mark Brunell sat on their bench for a little bit. Aaron Brooks sat on their bench for a little bit. And they all went on to be good starting NFL quarterbacks. And that's just non-existent now. So when I saw it, it was just, hey, it's just another like sign of defeat from NFL teams. Like, hey, man, we got to take what we can get and just be happy with, you know, and not even you got lucky to find him, you know what I'm saying? Because you invested so much into quarterbacks as far as contracts and draft picks. So they just they don't want to press their luck no more.
Me being a 49ers fan, I was not happy to see that signing pop up. Me and you had talked about it on previous episodes. It just doesn't make sense to me. I got a guy. Y'all just signed a guy who can't throw in inclement weather. Who anytime there's rain, is wondering why his hand size can't grip the ball, and anytime there's snow, he also done hit his elbow or injured his elbow twice since he's been a starter. So y'all are doing that, and then when it was his time to shine and to put the team on his back, he led them to a 6-11 record, where he should have been the focal point of the offense. You should have been able to bring in new receivers, working a running back, and in the games that it was on him and he didn't have elite talent around him, the games was getting out of hand quickly. Even when they went up to Green Bay, when they went up to Buffalo, losing regular games to the Rams and losing to the Cardinals and losing to the Seahawks down the stretch. These are your division rivals, and he's just not that guy. I thought everybody saw enough evidence to know that Brock Purdy isn't the guy to lead your franchise unless he has multiple all-pro weapons around him. And so if you sign him to that extension, you reducing the amount of money you can pay to other people, and that talent has already started to disperse. You got Debo going to Washington. You didn't invest in the O-line in the draft, which was already a little questionable. Then you give extensions to older guys like Trent Williams last summer and then George Kittle this year. You got questionable running back who just missed the majority of the season, who was approaching 29 and approaching that running back cutoff that people think that running backs tend to drop, which is age 30. And so I'm naming off all the stuff that would help him be a better quarterback to put people around him in, so that you're reducing that and saying, hey, Brock, lead us to winning records. And I just don't see him leading you to a winning record. So I was not happy. I was happy to see that they signed Fred Warner, though, to an extension, making him the highest paid linebacker, which is well deserved. He's been all-pro and been numerous people have named him the best linebacker in the game. And so to see him get that extension and secure him without it being no holdout situation, which I think teams get in trouble when they start getting into that summer training camp and got holdout stars, because those stars ain't participating in training camp, which kind of sets them back going into the season, which you need that production. And all you can say is, if we had such and such, we would have won that game. And he's not here because he held out for training camp or he ain't in shape just yet. So them signing that kind of made it okay. So, and that was 2 days ago when they signed that one. So Brock Purdy, no.
He's trying to take shots at the Cowboys. I just caught that.
Ooh, what shot?
Trying to say, you talking about teams letting guys go into the summer with unsigned and missing training camp, and who you talking about?
Yeah. So now the Cowboys do it. They mismanage stars all the time where they wait to the end of the summer and sign them to probably when they could have got those same players early on in the spring and just kept rolling with it. So it's all good either way. How they want to run their team is how they run their team. I'm a 49ers fan. Cowboys, I live in Dallas, so I see all the signings and stuff. I don't always agree with it, but hey, man, if it worked for the Cowboys, then hey, y'all keep doing it, man. Y'all want to keep believing that they're going to win the Super Bowl every year based off of the GM and the moves that the GM make. Keep doing it. Either way.
Hey, man, all we can say is we done won more recent than y'all, so.
I got you, man. Boys want to hang their head on there. I ain't did nothing.
I'm just saying that's where since we talking about not winning Super Bowls and stuff and
division titles, none of that.
We won a division title. We just ain't won no conference title.
No, I'm saying no division. I know that with the NFC East, no division title has been won consecutive in 21.
Oh, that's real.
Hey, man, y'all didn't win it last year. Y'all look for it this year, so we'll see.
It's our time, man.
I'm Washington winning it this year, then based off of the stats that y'all just gave out.
Because they got Debo. Like, man, y'all know Debo washed. Y'all know Debo washed.
I know Debo. I seen this production or lack thereof this past season, but I'm not hanging my hat on Debo. Okay. Maybe Cliff Kingsbury can unlock some talent and some things that Debo didn't show under the Kyle Shanahan offense, which is starting to get predictable to me. So it is what it is. Either way, we'll see. Like, I'm not a fan of the Brock Purdy extension, and that's it on that. We'll keep it to that. We'll bring in some more subjects. So moving transition to another subject, which is something that's a little bit under the radar. It's one that me and Matt talked about off camera. This is one where we have fathers in that and the athlete sons. And so we sit back and we wanted to just kind of diagnose where that climate is right now. We'll give you guys some examples. It started with Tyrese Halliburton and his dad, seeing his dad have to celebrate the win last night from a bar. And then it kind of trickled down to other athletes and their dads and the dads that are just more prevalent in the camera when the game is on and outside. So we can dibble and dabble between basketball and football. And so right now we talked about Tyrese Halliburton and his dad. We can do Shedeur Sanders and Deion Sanders. We can talk about LeVar Ball and his boys. We can talk about T. Moran and Ja Morant. And then we can also talk about recently in this past week, Caleb Williams' dad stating that he didn't want Caleb to go to the Bears and was trying to figure out a way to not get that. And so, Matt, I'll ask you, you're a father. I'm a father as well. How would you handle it? Would you take one of those approaches that we just named, or would you have your own specific approach? And can you list the reasons on why you would take those approaches? And who do you feel would you be able to say, or would you say that someone is handling something incorrectly?
So there's no right approach or wrong, no specific right way to do it when you being a father. Sometimes it just depends on who your child is, the way that you was brought up, what you had in your own life. Some of us didn't, not me, but some people didn't have examples of fathers, to see or to learn from, you know what I'm saying, due to whatever circumstance it was. But everybody you named, and I'll name a few more, Bill Haney, Devin Haney's dad in boxing. You got Teofimo Lopez dad training him. You got other people, Boots and his dad train him, and all of them play a different role. Some of them, Boots, Bose is a little bit more laid back and off in the background. He'll do interviews. Bill Haney will be more, up front. You'll see him on camera, and he's in his son corner.
Right.
But everybody that we can think of as far as dads, I can't knock none of them dudes for the way that they choose to be in their son's life. I'm just glad that they in their son's life, you know what I'm saying? And they are playing a big part in their son's life, and now you giving your son something to learn from and to teach it, to bring on to his kids. If he sees something wrong with what you're doing, then he can take that and learn not to incorporate that into what he does as a child. I mean, as a father. But yeah, I just love to see them being in the forefront for the most part, even if it gets out of line. Like people hated LeVar Ball for a while, but all he did was make you pay attention and see his sons before they came. And, it put them under a microscope a little bit. People was going at Lonzo and all this, but he survived all that, past the injuries. But I've seen so many times, though, and no knock on dudes that do it because, you shout out whoever you want to. But most of the time on camera, you see a dude, whether it's on the college sideline, on the bench, or in the interview, they shouting out their mama, right? And you would think he don't even have a daddy at home, you know what I'm saying? Because most of the time, dad is just play in the background and just accept whatever come his way. So I commend them for being like, nah, I'm going to grab the bull by the horns. Y'all going to know that my son got me in his life. And, yeah, we going to stand on it together. And this is what it looked like. And all of them dudes are successful no matter how we spin it or how we look at how they father, the negative that is brought towards them, if we want to call it that. All those guys that we named are successful.
I got you. I don't know if, like I said, to each situation is different. I've watched some situations where I felt the fathers were too involved and the results didn't turn out the way that they should have. And I just would have approached it differently as a father. Those examples would have been how Deion Sanders handled Shador's pre-draft and draft process, with him supposedly as being the agent. And I'm more so speaking on that it was stated that Shador doesn't have an official agent and Deion was representing him. And if that was the case, then I feel like that was handled incorrectly. The social media videos that was put out with Shador and Cam and they're working out, and then the reports on the way Shador handled his pre-draft interviews with certain clubs. If he would have had a agent to buffer that between what the team is saying and how he was, and I feel like they could have got that corrected. And the way that it was handled, I feel like it cost Shador millions of dollars. And then on the flip side, in another situation where I feel like a daddy stepped in and intervened or didn't, lack thereof, stepped up, was T. Morant and John Morant. You can always catch T. Morant sitting courtside, celebrating with the team when they win, getting into it with Shannon Sharp when he's disagreeing and stuff like that. But I've never, and then of course I wouldn't see on their day-to-day. I don't know what talks that they have had, but at the same time, I ain't seen no results either. So when his son was out there doing the gun and pulling the guns and doing the gun motion this year, where's the dad at to make some correction on that, man? Like, your son is on the verge of losing endorsement money as well as losing game checks. So at the end of the day, the goal should be to get as much money as you can to support your family, and everything else should fall in line with that. And so if you have a chance to help your son secure more money, whether it's speaking up and telling your son to stop pulling them guns out and doing that, or help him secure the right pre-draft interviews and to go through the process correctly, then the father should be able to step in and make those corrections. I feel like they let him down on that. But to each his own on the dad approach. You know your son's better than we know him. You know what they can react to and stuff they can't react to, and the situations that you done tested them and put them in as little kids and then preteens and then teenagers. Then, hey, you may need to feel it, do something differently. It's just the outcome on those situations, I feel like cost both their kids millions of dollars. And based off of you being in the public with your son, then maybe you should have gave him a little bit more advice on how to handle it going forward on both the pre-draft as well as the gun situation. So that's a touchy subject. Like I said, I wouldn't want nobody telling me how to raise my boys when they hadn't been in that situation. It's just this is all results based, and the results is that Shador ended up signing that $4 million contract when he should have been signing something close to 30, based off of the first round rookie scale. And then obviously we know John Morant has been suspended multiple times and actually had to go to court behind him in gun situations when his dad is always right there with him too. So make you question, what is his dad actually saying if he can't get him out them situations?
I mean, you're a grown man, so I mean, you could say something, but when your son, I mean, it depends on what level of relationship there. I mean, it looked like they tight. Like I seen videos, his dad pushing him to do work out and all that other stuff. So I believe that he would be telling them that. But man, I got kids and they make some dumb mistakes. You know what I'm saying? And I would hope that nobody would think that I'm not telling them to do to the right thing. They've been told the right thing their whole life, you know. But just like me, sometimes you got to learn the hard way. You know, I went through some stuff people told me don't do and did it anyway. You know what I'm saying? Because I feel like it's something I could have got away with, you know. But and I think it's a knock on the NFL that they would hold that against your door, that he don't have an actual agent. You know what I'm saying? Like, is it that's part of the problem with y'all quarterback, not y'all, you know, if that's how y'all judging quarterbacks, then that's part of the issue right now. With y'all not being able to have enough quarterbacks. So everybody franchise player. You got to put the majority of your salary cap into a quarterback because it ain't that many. But yeah, if y'all judging it based off that, if he slipped because he didn't have an actual agent and this stuff started coming out, and this stuff started coming out, and you know what I'm saying, and because the agent wasn't there to buffer that, I know what I'm putting it all in, my bad. But yeah, being all of that, that's crazy. You know what I'm saying? Because we still going out for talent, and a lot of dudes then had allegations or knocks or negative about them, you know. Just come out and, you know, if it was about talent, then it's about talent. I respect it. Yeah. But if it end up being because of that, then it's crazy. I know you're not saying that. You just, you know, it's an insinuation or whatever.
Even though piggybacking on what you said, I would appreciate it if somebody had came out and actually said they didn't feel Shador was a first round talent. I could have stood on that.
Right on.
I didn't necessarily feel like he was a franchise quarterback for an NFL team, but based off of the quarterbacks that was in this draft, he was better than them. Now, what he got done once he made it to a franchise was to be seen. But watching him in Colorado, I don't know if he was going to be a quarterback that was going to step in there and lead the team.
I respect that. I'm on the side of don't just draft a quarterback. If it ain't no good ones that you like, don't just draft one.
Right.
I wouldn't do that, but that's crazy.
Yeah, when you look at teams that needed quarterbacks, like the following week, Derek Carr retires from the Saints, and then they stuck with a quarterback room that is hot ass, and the Pittsburgh Steelers quarterback room is hot ass. So at least you could bring in somebody that, hey, we tried it didn't work. They ain't even try. The Steelers didn't even try to bring in a quarterback, and they left with Mason Rudolph, and I don't even know who the second guy is right now. It's in my mind.
I forgot who they had in there, but yeah, my thought was again, all them dudes. It don't make sense for them to bring in Shador because now y'all already on the hot seat. Shador do good or something when they start believing in him, man. You know who coming next, man. Your job, you know, you always have Prime lurking. I think that was in their mind. I don't know if that's true or not. I'm just saying something. I don't know if I'm really interested in coaching, but I'm sure that played from my thoughts, they played a part in some of these coaches' mind. You know what I'm saying? It was some insecurities because you already on the high seat, or you Kellen Moore, and you don't want that. You know, you wasn't the type of player Prime was, man. You know, and you may not be the type of coach he is. You know, you've never been a head coach. Now you got that pressure on you. You fail. Shador still looking good. You know, hey.
I got you. So no, we're in agreement. Like I said, every situation is case by case, but at the same time, the results of the situations that we saw as a father, I would have handled it a little different on the Deion Sanders. I definitely would have handled it a little different on the T. Morant. When it comes to LeVar Ball, everything worked out that way. When it comes to Halliburton, his dad, his daddy got out there and went back and forth with Giannis. It was a situation that didn't escalate more than them having verbal confrontation. I know the Pacers have said he can't come back to any games. And honestly, at this point, I feel like he should be able to come back to some games. He know not to run out there on the court and stuff right there now. So it is what it is.
I wouldn't have did it. Now that's one I could say that was crazy. Like, I mean, that's the difference between 2025 and 1995.
Oh,
You know
yeah.
what I'm saying?
Most players would have knocked at it right on out and then kept on moving with it.
I'm already, you just gave me a reason to take it out on somebody.
For sure. For sure. So, no, I ain't agreeing with that part. I don't know if he shouldn't be able to come back to any more games based off of
Shout
results.
out to him though. That was crazy though. That was
sure.
crazy. Like what? I wouldn't have ran up on him like that. I would have been happy. I probably would have ran around like, yeah, but I wouldn't have got right up on him like, yeah, you see what it is, boy.
For sure. I got you. Okay. All right. Well, we'll transition to our more or less segment. We only got one for this episode today, but this is also piggybacking on the parent situation, but more of a fictional parent situation. Me and Matt are both fans of Power. Power 3, Raising Kanan, is actually just ended its season, and so they ended it with a season where the main character Kanan has pulled a gun out on his mother, out of being hurt by things that he feels she's done over the past 3 seasons. And so it ended with the season with him pulling that gun out and expressing his hurt, but also in a sense that he wanted to end his mother's days too. So with that being said, Matt, did Kanan have enough hurt to justify him pulling the gun on his mother in that episode? And we've seen some episodes where kids have, I guess, killed their parents on the show. So talk to me a little bit more. Are you more or less Kanan had the hurt on it and to justify it, or is there anything else?
Hell no. Power is crazy with that dynamic, especially in Ghost. When Ghost got killed by Tyreek, you had Tommy kill his daddy. You had who else was that they killed their parent in that first one?
Tommy killed his dad. Kanan killed his son. Tyreek killed his dad, and then now we got Kanan killed pulling the gun.
Yeah. Kanan killed his son. Rock killed her mama. Hey, everybody taking out their parents or their child. Like, what's going on here? Like, everybody got that Menendez energy, and I don't see that around my parts. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know if that's more that's the East Coast thing or up north, wherever we gonna call that thing. But around here, that's not something that. Not saying it's never happened. Don't get me wrong, but it's just not something that's common, especially with people in that part of the lifestyle. You know what I'm saying? If you live in the streets, you know what I'm saying? You know the last person you can fall back on is your parents, and in those cases, in this case, Kanan trying to shoot his mom. I don't think he killed her because I told everybody else, I didn't hear the 3 shots. You know what I'm saying? Because she taught him well. So my boy was like, well, I don't think he would kill his mama like that. I'm like, man, if he trying to kill his mom, he's gonna show her, hey, I'm gonna make sure you're out of there like you told me. 2 to the head, 2 to the chest, 1 in the head. You know what I'm saying? So didn't hear that. So of course, we know or can suspect that something else might have happened. That shot may have came from somebody else to prevent it, or it was directed at somebody else from Kanan. Who knows? But just that whole piece, of showing that, I just thought that was hopefully we don't go back down that road because I really don't like to spin it that way. TV is so powerful to me in a lot of different ways. You've seen the way TV has changed, the way people want to view themselves or the image that they want to portray. Back when they used to show people on TV with long, pretty hair and started promoting perms and stuff. You know what I'm saying? Making you want to get perms on your head, way back then, we could start back there or even before, TV has a way of making people drawing you in and giving you ideas or giving you images or views of stuff that could happen or what you can see or what you can become. But so yeah, hopefully in this one we get something different. We know it ain't gonna end well. It's TV though, so if that goes back into parenthood and having a father in your life or your mom. But if you got both parents, even better, that's able to tell you this is just entertainment. Some people get entertained by this. This should not be happening in real life and giving you good values. Then it's cool, but we know it's a lot of people out here that copycat what they see on TV. So I just be worried about that when they start pushing these kind of dynamics on these shows.
Gotcha. Okay. I think you make some good points on that one. I had never even thought about the narrative that they pushing. Like this has happened 3 or 4 times within these series. I always kept it as a form of entertainment. It gave more drama. Everything about this series is definitely drama. While portraying some stuff that happened in the streets, so I never looked into it more than that. But I get what you're saying as far as where it could lead to people watching it, especially if you push that. You've pushed that issue 3 or 4 times now, so it's something in the writing, and it comes with that, and it's something that people might, take serious these days that don't have the ability to separate TV and entertainment from real life. So I get you on that. When it comes to just the overall more or less question, and we keeping it strictly to the entertainment of the show, more or less, did he have enough hurt? I don't think so. I seen a spoiled brat kid who was misinformed and who thought he was a grown man and think he's handling situations that he shouldn't have handled. He's put himself and his parents, his mom, and his family in situations that they shouldn't be in because he think he know what he's doing. I don't. So no, he don't have enough to justify that. And honestly, I mean, he had pulled a gun, but if I was his mom, I probably would have slapped him around, have somebody slap him around, bring some sense to him because he out of pocket right now. And mind you, this character supposed to still be in high school. He's driving the Benz. He done moved out on his own. He was just at the beginning of the season. He was just getting in trouble by not going to school. The social worker just dropped off the map. Like once they figured out he wasn't going to school no more, he ended up being we ain't gonna go address that. So it's a lot going on with that character, but I don't feel like he has enough to justify. I don't think nobody has enough.
Nah, man,
this character in real life to pull a gun on their mom and stuff like that.
Unjustifiable homicide. But I mean, but that attitude I see a lot. I've seen a lot, with guys not to kill, but just that blame game. Especially once you get up in age or whatever, you still blaming somebody for what happened in childhood, which could be to blame. But if you're like 40, you've been a child at 18, what happened the other 20-some years? What was happening then? Why didn't you take control and change the narrative? You know what I'm saying? So you got to blame yourself too. But a lot of times we always look for somebody else to point the finger at. And we see that on these shows, instead of like his uncle told him, man, you got to hold it like a man. I got to take responsibility for shit that I did. And that's what that was, you know what I'm saying? And that goes into all through our life as you grow. I could look back and I could say, man, life could have been like this if I had two parents, if I had one parent in the household, you know what I'm saying? Or like that. But I don't blame my parents for not raising me, you know what I'm saying? They both did what they could for me. And I'm grateful for the relationships that we had then and now. And everything that I fell short on, I look back at like me not making it to the pros. I look at all the times I was in the house playing Nintendo and shit. Could have been doing some push-ups or something, you know what I'm saying? Or out doing something better. And I spent time outside, but all my time wasn't doing something to help get better at what I was dreaming on being, you know what I'm saying? So I got to put more blame on me because I had control over my everyday and my time. And yeah, I didn't use my time wisely, as wisely as I should have. So yeah, I just see that a lot. But my bad, I just kind of went off on that. Go ahead, whatever else you got.
It's all good, man. We like I said, we that was the last more or less. We both
okay, cool.
said we messed on that. So and like I said, we kept it to just the character and the show, and then it could lead to some other things in real life. But as far as just the show, I don't think he had a justifiable. And so hopefully the next seasons they can clear that up and he can get an understanding. Again, this is the prequel to Power, and we know some of the things that have already happened. So we can only expect some demise of some characters that's going to happen based off of what we know from the prior show. So,
True that.
Okay, that's pretty much everything we had on the agenda today. Is there anything that you feel we need to address before we wrap up this episode?
Nah, man. Hey, y'all, I did an interview with Dub Hub High School Podcast. I think I got the name correct. Apologize if I didn't. But yeah, I shared it. Check out my Instagram. You'll see the link to it. If you want to check it out, full interview. I thought it was pretty cool. Got a chance to discuss some local high school stuff from back in the day and my thoughts on what's changed from then up until now. So check that out. But definitely, yeah, make sure y'all hitting the like button for us, man. Sharing this out,
Sure.
pulling out, and if you disagree with some or you agree, then all comments are wanted, man. No soft feelings here, especially when it come down to discussing what we talking about, man. You're getting personal as far as family and stuff, then I'm gonna have to come get you. But I'm just joking. I don't want no issues with nobody, but not for real. Anything we discuss and y'all don't agree, then just bring it. Let's talk about it and give a show point of view on the topics that we discuss.
Okay. As Matt said, I hope you guys continue to watch the show. We got a big episode coming next week where we'll be back live in studio with a guest. Continue to like and subscribe. We also have some other things that we're working on over the next few weeks as well. I look forward to bringing that to our audience and then expanding our audience in a direction as well. Again, when we started the show, we started it because we wanted to talk sports, but also how sports bled into the culture, and then a lot of the Dallas culture as well. So I look forward to expanding on that. Most of our episodes so far have been 90% sports related, and then with a little bit of culture in there. So we look forward to expanding on what the culture actually means. What is that? I'm a big sneakerhead guy. We both talked about we're not that big on just overall fashion based off of the Met Gala episode that we did. But me and Matt listen to a lot of music, watch a lot of movies and shows as well too. So we want to see how sports intertwine with those areas, and that's what we plan to move the show through the duration of the summer. And so the audience that we have, I look forward to, like I said, giving y'all some different views on stuff, but also expanding the show and the audience as well. So I appreciate everybody that's been rocking with us so far, and we'll welcome in all the new audience that we get in from the episodes coming forward too. That's all I got for this episode, Matt. Anything else you want to say to conclude it? If not, I'll go ahead and
hey man, I like fashion. I just don't like the Met Gala fashion. But that's it, man. Much love. We're gonna let y'all get up out of here. I hope everybody have a good one. And back to you, Willie.
Sounds good. Everybody enjoy your Memorial Day. We'll catch up with you guys after that one. We'll see you again. Our next episode is live in the studio, and I look forward to presenting that to y'all. Y'all have a good one.